Chapter 1. The Unseen Signal. Dr. Evelyn Ross stood at the command center of the Nova Explorer, her mind racing through calculations and data sets. The vast emptiness of space had become familiar to her over the years, like an old friend. But tonight, something felt different. "Michael, come here," she called. Her fingers moved over the glowing console, navigating complex arrays of data streams that had been running for weeks. A strange flicker in the data caught her attention, just a slight anomaly in the cosmic background radiation that no one else had noticed. Dr. Michael Hayes hurried over, his sharp eyes scanning the screen. "What's going on?" "I'm not sure yet," Evelyn murmured. "But look here, a signal, not a natural one. At least not from anything we've studied before." The signal was faint, almost too weak to detect at first. But the more they focused the sensors, the clearer it became. Unlike the random background noise or stray bursts from distant stars, this signal appeared organized. A pattern, an unnatural regularity, something with intention behind it. Michael leaned over, his brow furrowing. "Are you telling me someone out there is trying to communicate with us?" Evelyn didn't answer right away. She was too engrossed in the data. The signal was growing stronger, but its origin remained a mystery. The signal didn't match any known natural sources. "It's definitely not from any known galaxy. The distance is too far." "But where is it coming from?" Michael asked, tapping away at his own console. "From beyond the Virgo cluster," Evelyn said, her eyes narrowing. "A region of space we thought was empty. No star systems, no galaxies. Just a void." A cold shiver ran down Evelyn's spine. "Let's track it. Set course. We're going there." Chapter 2. The Hidden Galaxy. As Nova Explorer altered its course, moving deeper into the uncharted expanse of space. The engines hummed steadily as the ship accelerated toward the unknown source of the signal. The crew, though accustomed to the isolation of space travel, grew more tense with every passing hour. Evelyn sat at the console, staring out of the observation port. The void stretched on endlessly ahead. The silence outside was absolute, like the universe itself was holding its breath. Michael's voice broke the silence. "Evelyn, I think you need to see this." She stood and walked over to the data panel, her eyes darting over the readouts. The signal had intensified. It was almost as if it was guiding them. The coordinates led them toward an empty region of the cosmos, a region they had passed over hundreds of times in previous missions. But there was something different now. "Michael, are you seeing this? The readings, they don't match anything we know." Michael zoomed in on the data. "This is impossible. There's a galaxy here, but it's not on any map. There's no record of it. The coordinates are completely off." The display flickered, and before them appeared a strange, irregular shape. A galaxy, not like any they had seen before. Instead of a neat spiral or elliptical structure, this galaxy was chaotic, its stars and nebulae forming a disjointed and unnatural pattern. "This doesn't look like a natural galaxy," Evelyn said, her voice tense. "It's almost as if it's been engineered." Michael swallowed. "But how? Who could have created something like this?" The implications were staggering. They were staring at a galaxy that shouldn't exist, one that could have been built by an intelligence far beyond their own. "We need to investigate further," Evelyn said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is bigger than we imagined." Chapter 3. A close encounter. Days passed, and the Nova Explorer pushed deeper into the mysterious galaxy. The ship passed through thick clouds of gas and dust, the sensors humming as they struggled to peer through the cosmic haze. And then they found it. A planet. Orbiting a distant star, its surface glimmering with an energy signature unlike anything they had ever encountered. The planet's atmosphere was stable, almost identical to Earth's in terms of oxygen and nitrogen levels. "This planet," Michael murmured, his voice full of awe. "It's just like Earth." Evelyn stared at the data, her pulse quickening. But there was something else. The energy readings from the planet were far more concentrated than they should be. There were spikes, unexplained bursts of energy radiating from the surface. What could cause this? Evelyn asked. These readings, they don't match anything from a natural planet. Could be some kind of artificial structure, Michael suggested. A city, a machine. Evelyn was already making calculations. The planet was too close to the signal source to ignore. "Let's send a probe, get a closer look." The probe launched, streaking through space toward the planet's surface. For hours, the crew watched in silence, waiting for data to trickle back. Then, the probe's transmission reached them, a flicker of imagery. At first, it was grainy, distorted, but as the signal strengthened, it became clear. There were structures on the surface, tall metallic towers that defied human architecture. They looked otherworldly, shimmering with strange energy patterns. "Are these buildings?" Michael whispered. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Yes, but they're not like anything we've seen before. There's more going on here than just a new planet." The implications weighed heavily on her. This wasn't just a discovery of a new world, it was a discovery of an alien civilization. Chapter 4: The First Message. The crew had prepared for weeks, gathering every possible piece of information they could from the probe's transmission. They had decoded much of the data, at least what they could understand. But nothing made sense. No human language matched the symbols they had found. It wasn't a code. It was something else. "We need to try reaching them," Evelyn said firmly. "Send a message. We've been receiving, so it's time we respond." The decision wasn't easy, and the tension on the ship was palpable. What if the aliens didn't want to make contact? What if this was a trap? They sent a signal, a basic message made of mathematical patterns and images of Earth. A simple universal greeting. "We come in peace. We seek knowledge." They waited. For days there was no response. The silence was suffocating. Every member of the crew had their doubts, wondering if they had made a mistake, if their signal had been lost or ignored. But then, on the fourth day, a new transmission arrived. This time, it wasn't a simple message. It was a series of complex images, lights, geometrical shapes, sequences of symbols, and patterns that seemed to repeat. The transmission was long and intricate. The crew worked tirelessly, analyzing the message. As they pieced together the symbols, a realization set in. The message was a language, unlike any they had ever encountered. It was not just a greeting, it was an invitation. The message read, "We hear you. Welcome." Chapter 5. An invitation. The message was clear. The alien species, whoever they were, wanted to make contact. They had been waiting for the crew to reach them. Evelyn felt a mix of excitement and unease. This was unprecedented. First contact with an alien species, a chance to communicate with beings who were far beyond their understanding. The crew was divided. Some were eager to make the journey to the planet's surface. Others were more cautious. The unknown weighed heavily on them. Evelyn gathered the team. "We can't pass up this opportunity. We have to go." "But what if this is a trap?" Michael asked, his voice tense. "What if they're luring us in?" "Oh, we'll be careful," Evelyn said. We have no choice now. We've come too far. Chapter 6. The tension grows. The days leading up to the landing were filled with tension. The Nova Explorer shifted its course, descending toward the planet. The crew remained on edge, unsure of what awaited them. But as they neared the planet's surface, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The planet was too quiet. No signs of movement, no communication beyond the initial message. The alien structures they had observed from orbit stood silent, towering like monuments to an unknown history. "I've been going over the data again," Michael said one evening. "Something feels off. These structures, there's something about them. They're not just buildings, they're designed to be seen, to be watched monuments," Evelyn murmured. "They want us to see them, to know they exist. But why? And for what purpose?" Chapter 7. Into the atmosphere, the Nova Explorer descended into the alien planet's atmosphere, the ship shaking slightly as it broke through the dense clouds. Below, the landscape spread out like a work of art. Tall, shimmering spires stretched toward the sky, their surfaces smooth and metallic, glowing with an ethereal light. The alien city appeared before them, silent, still, and awe-inspiring. No signs of life, no signs of movement. Yet everything seemed alive in a way. The city pulsed with an unnatural energy. "We've arrived," Evelyn said, her voice barely above a whisper. And still, no sign of life. Michael looked at her, his face filled with doubt. "I don't like this. It's too quiet." But the crew proceeded, setting the ship down on a flat plateau. The ramp extended, and the airlock hissed open. Chapter 8. The Encounter. The moment they stepped onto the surface of the planet, a chill ran through Evelyn. The ground beneath them felt cold, despite the seemingly temperate environment. The city ahead was vast, its structures gleaming under twin suns. Then, from the distance, figures appeared, tall, slender beings, glowing with a faint light. They moved toward the explorers with deliberate grace, their movements coordinated, their eyes shimmering with intelligence. The beings approached the crew without a word. There was no greeting, no exchange of pleasantries. They simply watched. Evelyn's heart hammered in her chest. She extended her hand in the universal gesture of peace, hoping that these beings would understand her intentions. One of the beings stepped forward, their form delicate and glowing. Its long, slender arm extended toward her, slowly, cautiously, and then it smiled. The smile was serene, yet it sent a ripple of unease. Something was wrong. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but the moment felt off. Chapter 9. Unraveling the Truth. As the crew ventured deeper into the alien city, they discovered something chilling. The buildings were not just technology, they were alive, in a sense. There were strange chambers where the bodies of alien beings lay preserved in glass cases, their eyes open in a frozen, almost lifelike state. "What are these?" Michael whispered, his voice filled with horror. "They were alive," Evelyn said, her voice trembling. "And now they're just preserved, trapped. They're artifacts," Michael whispered, "preserved like relics." The truth began to unravel before them. The invitation had not been genuine. The aliens had not wanted to make contact. They had wanted to collect them. Chapter 10. The decision. As they scrambled to leave the alien world, the realization hit hard. They had been lured here. The alien beings weren't offering peace. They were offering control. They had been collecting explorers from across the cosmos, preserving their essence like trophies. Evelyn stood in the command center of the Nova Explorer, her hands trembling. "We can't stay," We need to go now. The ship's engines hummed to life as they made their escape. But as the planet shrank in the distance, Evelyn couldn't help but wonder, were they the first to discover this world? Or were they just the latest in a long line of explorers who had come and never left? The end.